Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we celebrate the wonderful feast of the Assumption of Blessed Virgin Mary, that our Mother was taken body and soul into heaven. I wish you all a wonderful feast day, all the blessings through our Mother. Jesus could not have allowed his beloved Mother, who totally surrendered herself to him, to death and decay. In the papal document Munificem Decimus Deus, in 1950, Pope Pius XII pronounced the dogma of the Assumption of Mary. And in the document, the Holy Father says, he first speaks about how Jesus, through his death and resurrection, conquered death, and how everyone, through baptism, has died to death or died to sin, participates in the same life of Jesus. And then he continues, according to the general rule, God does not will to grant to the just the full effect of this victory over death until the end of time has come. And so it is that the bodies of even the just are corrupted after death, and only on the last day will they rejoin, each to its own glorious soul. But the Pope continues, now God has willed that the Blessed Virgin Mary should be exempted from this general rule. She, by an entirely unique privilege, overcame sin by her Immaculate Conception, and as a result she was not subject to the law of remaining in the corruption of the grave, and she did not have to wait until the end of time for the redemption of her body. And therefore, at the end of the earthly life, she was assumed body and soul into heaven. And the Eastern churches always speak about dormition of Blessed Virgin Mary, the falling asleep of the Blessed Virgin Mary, not as death. And I would say the Immaculate Conception was a more difficult dogma to believe. Possibly it took a lot of theological discussions before it was pronounced a dogma that the Blessed Virgin Mary was conceived without the stain of original sin. And possibly it required the revelation through our Blessed Mother to Saint Bernadette in 1858, when she said, I am Immaculate Conception. And that was required to deepen our faith. But to believe in the Assumption of the Blessed Mother, I think it is much simpler, much easier for everyone, because it is a natural ending, a logical conclusion, a natural conclusion of a life that was totally committed to the Lord, that was totally given to the Lord. The body of the one in whom original sin had no power, who bore the Word made flesh, the eternal Word made flesh, could not be subjected to death and decay. And again, what less reward could be given to the one who perfectly identified herself with the suffering of her Son for the salvation of human race? There was no other less gift that could be given to Mary. The letter to the Philippians, chapter 2, verses 8 and 9, St. Paul says, Jesus humbled himself even to death on a cross. And therefore God raised him and gave him a name above every other name. Since Jesus lowered himself, humbled himself, he was given the greatest name and the greatest position. And next to him is Mary, who humbled herself, who perfectly identified herself, lowered herself, just like her son, all through her life. And that's why the church often uses the word co-redemptrix. Although the popes are very often reminding the church that this is a misunderstanding, or this term could be a misunderstanding. Jesus, she is not a redemptrix, or she is not a mediator, but Jesus is the only mediator. She participates. But out of our love for our mother, we use any word, we exaggerate a little bit. So, but the point is, just as Jesus emptied himself, Mary also did. And therefore, next to Jesus comes the position of Mary. Just like Jesus, Mary humbled herself, and therefore God gave her a position, a place next to Jesus himself. And that is what we celebrate today. And two attitudes of Mary that we should imbibe, and that helped her to be assumed into heaven, body and soul. The first attitude, her humility in accepting everything as a gift of God. She accepted everything as coming from God, not as her merits. Today's Gospel from St. Luke, when Mary visits Elizabeth, Elizabeth says, "Oh, how come the mother of my Lord has come to visit me?" It was a wonderful greeting. The mother of God. But what was the response of Mary? She said, "The Almighty has done great things for me. My soul magnifies the Lord. Glory be to his name. And he has regarded the humble estate of his handmaid. It's not my merit, it is God's gift." So, the attitude that everything comes to us as a gift of God. Everything. And the second attitude, her faith in God's plan, in everything. Her faith that God's plan is the best plan, especially in hard times. In everybody's life on earth, hardships, pain, sickness, death, suffering, that's more than those present moments. And it is exactly in those moments that we have to deepen our faith, our trust in Jesus. And that is what Mary did. The prophecy of Simeon, who said, "A sword will pierce through your heart." But it took place in the life of Mary on different occasions. So, accepting or cultivating that attitude that everything comes from God helps us to humble ourselves and to live a life of gratitude. And also, especially in moments of pain and suffering, to see the hand of God, which is behind there, which is always there to support us. That is the example our Blessed Mother gives us. And the more we humble ourselves, we are willing even to undergo humiliation for Jesus, for other people, the more we will be exalted. The higher the praise we will receive from Jesus. May, through her intercession, the Lord give us that power, that courage, always to say yes to God's plans. Once again, I wish you a wonderful feast day and all the blessings of the Assumption of our Blessed Mother. Amen.